Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Hungover podcast. Much delayed, much talked about, much anticipated. This is the podcast in which we talk about E3, the results of our stake bet, which we'll get to. It'll be amazing.
Someone's excited, and it's not me.
But before we get to all of that, let me introduce myself. My name's Ivan over there.
I'm Julien. Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
Yeah, and we are a podcast that you can find sometimes on Twitch when our schedules allow, which will be more free in about 2 weeks when I'm done with the movie completely.
Oh, great. I can't imagine a time where you're not busy, so I don't think it's going to matter. So it's all right.
And then you can catch us on YouTube and also on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Those are audio only. But if you're like, hey, I thought this was great, or hey, I think that this isn't that great, just leave us a rating, a review. We'll read through them, we'll understand what you liked, what you didn't, and we'll move on from there.
Yeah.
It'll help us out.
It really does. So please give us your feedback in whatever way you see fit. We also have an email address, gaminghungover@gmail.com, if you really need to contact us for whatever reason.
And guess what, Julian?
What is that?
We have a URL.
Oh yeah, we hit 100 subscribers on YouTube. We just got a 101st subscriber from one of my streams that I streamed on Friday. I got someone to subscribe to our channel, so we currently have 101 subscribers. Thank you. His name is Maniac_Hoop for subscribing to our YouTube channel and following my Twitch channel. You can go check him out on Twitch if you'd like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this means that I am forced to participate and help make
a YouTube video
for the first time in months.
I think over a year, at least.
It's quite possible.
Man.
And it's going to be a great time. We're going to have a great time. We're going to do a Steam challenge when I have the time. Last week, I was
wait for 2 weeks.
Working like 12 hours a day, and then I had 4 hours of personal life duty a day.
Yeah.
Because Laura had performance, and we had people in town, and it was Father's Day today, which meant 2 sets of parents came into town. It's been a week, Julian.
It's been a lot for you, man. But luckily, I've been trying to keep our YouTube channel alive, and I also have some ideas for our channel. I'm going to be putting out some videos. I have one in the works right now. I made the Nintendo Switch Toy-Con, so I'm working on that, the review, and some thoughts and impressions.
Those are popular.
Unboxing. Those are our only popular videos for some reason. And then I also want to try to start a series. I've been getting really into filming time lapses lately because my camera allows so. So I'm going to try to film more time lapses of New York City because that's just something I want to do. And whatever, I'll just put it on your YouTube channel. If you want to use it for stock footage or whatever, just make sure you give us credit. That's all I ask. I ask. You can totally use our footage for anything. So yeah, I'll just turn our channel into a stock footage channel. That would be
really
amazing.
Popular.
Yeah, so it's fine. So aside from that, Ivan, that's the whole rigmarole. Let's go ahead and jump right into our podcast. We start our podcast out every single week in a segment where we ask each other, what media have you been consuming, and what did you drink last night? Or this week, whatever. Well, it's been a week and a half now, I guess. But yeah.
I went out drinking on Monday with colleagues.
That's great.
And networking. For future, because I'm trying to get more movie gigs.
Of course. That's your lifeblood.
Yeah, now it is. And I had a wonderful scotch, the Balvenie Caribbean cask. Don't know if I've told you about it before.
No, please do. Enlighten us.
Really delightful scotch. So I think it's like a 14-year, but it's aged in Caribbean cask. So I think it's a sherry, Caribbean sherry cask. So it gives it a lot more sweetness.
Yeah.
This is one of the most drinkable scotches ever made. And it is
Nice.
delightful.
Doesn't give
and it-
you heartburn or anything?
Not at all.
That's impressive.
It's super smooth. And not in like the, smooth. But in the genuine sense of the word.
So hungover gaming approved. We got to start making a list of alcohol that we would approve. I think that actually I feel like that might be a good video for us if we just or podcast. We just bring our favorite alcohols to the table and discuss, notes and things about the alcohols.
Yes.
I think that's a good idea.
We
Tell
can
us
do
in the
that
comments.
once every 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be interesting. I feel like that would be pretty cool.
I think that's well worth it. I think that's definitely a good like a relaxing Sunday podcast.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
beverage on beverage on beverage.
Or maybe you want to learn something about some alcohols. Maybe you just turned 21, for instance, and you want to learn something about the finer things in life, fine dining and drinking. Those are what
that
we
usually
love.
doesn't happen at 21. That happens a little later.
Yeah, I know, but maybe the kids these days, they grow up so fast. Maybe they want to learn a thing or two.
But we could
Impress
also
their college
do
girlfriends.
What is
I don't know.
the best shitty beer?
Oh, I'm in on that. Let's go. Sounds great.
I have to send for Lone Star.
We don't have to. Yeah, that's fine.
Anyway,
Yeah,
in terms of media I've been consuming this week, I have played 0 video games this week. I
Okay,
have not
but
had
you've
the
been
time
very
to.
busy. Yeah,
I got to see Laura perform twice this
that's
week.
exciting.
She has a devised theater work that's here in Syracuse called Immigration Dialogue.
Cool.
So devised theater is where the actors come together and they create a piece out of nothing, usually based on some sort of jumping off point. So for this one, it was a bit different. It's like a directive devised theater. So they had a director who wasn't a actor in the performance itself, but he had conducted a bunch of interviews centered around the topic of immigration. And they worked together, and he worked together with the actors to come up with this hour-long show that included singing, dancing, direct verbatim interviews from these people, and some creative ways to discuss the topic of immigration from a liberal side, a conservative side, from the point of view of somebody who's just coming to America, and just it's this wonderfully muddled piece that is jumping at you with a lot of chaotic energy, but in a way that is reflective of the current conversation around immigration, which isn't a linear conversation.
Oh,
There's
not
a lot
at
of
all.
voices. It's a cacophonous message out there. And so it was a really interesting piece, and they're working on it a little bit. They might show it again in the fall.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that was the major so-called media that I consumed, if we're going to call it that. Other than that, I almost didn't have time to catch up on my D&D podcast.
Man.
I'm in the middle of this week's episode because I had to finish last week's episode because I hadn't caught up with it.
Oh, man. That
So,
is rough.
It's been
That is rough.
an 80-plus hour work week for me this
Yeah,
week, and
that's-
I just really had no time.
That is a lot. Did you get anything to drink? Did you have a beer or something?
Oh, I had, I stocked up on. I bought a new bottle of Espolòn.
Nice.
And so I had margs at my place and mojitos, and so yeah, that's the general gist of what I've had. I also had a Saranac beer.
Yeah, I like Saranac. They make good beers.
This is not, I guess, not a sponsored segment, but I did get the beer for free.
Okay.
Um,
That makes
and
it
it
better, let's be honest.
So they worked with us on the movie that I'm working on, and
Cool.
they had some stuff that they brought to the studio to show off what their product was, so I had a little bit of that, and I might have taken a 6-pack home.
That's very awesome.
Yeah, It was great.
All right.
I can actually get a can of it. But it's one of their summer IPAs, so it's not that high in ABV.
Yeah.
It's a little bit. I would say it's a little less pungent in its taste, but it's an easy summer drinking beer. It's nice on a hot day.
Nice. That's great.
How about you, Julian?
For me, I've had a big week and a half since our last podcast. Um, the day after we recorded the podcast, I defended my dissertation. Woo!
This is a really, really, really
Party
big
town.
and important step.
Yeah, it is. So I guess it's all but formalities now, but I'm a chemistry doctor. That is me.
That's awesome.
I am now more educated than like 99% of the people on the planet. Apparently. So yeah, I finished that, and so I had some more time to relax immediately after that. So I made a Toy-Con VR kit. And that video will be going up shortly, I guess, probably in the middle of this current week. And I played some of the VR experiences that Nintendo has to offer, which I have to say were better than I thought from hearing all the reviews online. But definitely not good. Either way. No, they weren't like and for context, I've played PSVR, which I like very much. And it's super awesome. But the Toy-Con stuff is really cool. Like, for instance, I don't have it in this room. The construction of the kit is so much fun. You would love it, Ivan, because you like making Gunplas and things, the Gundams. But the software that it comes with to make the instructions, essentially, it's a software that you run on the Switch, and you can turn it around. It's like a 3D model of what you're supposed to do. It's like very cute and quirky. It has cool music to go along with it, and it's really detailed. And I think Gundam models can take advantage of this. They should like release an app on your phone. Maybe they have this already. I don't fucking know. It's 2019. But there should be an app on your phone that you can download that it has detailed instructions like this for your Gundam model, because that would be really cool. It's a really fun experience. So I think it's worth. It was $40 the cardboard kit. I think it's worth the money just for the building experience alone. But you also get these cool VR experiences, not to mention Smash Bros, Zelda, and Mario Odyssey all have VR modes. Zelda you can play entirely in VR, which is kind of cool, actually. I think it works pretty well, honestly, although it has some frame rate dips, which can give you a little bit of motion sickness, and it also has a lot of, it has to display the game twice, so I think you're probably not even looking at it in 720p. Because you have to do all the VR stuff in handheld mode, which means that everything is already reduced in resolution to begin with. So that's a bad thing.
How bad is it on the battery life?
It's not that bad. I mean, Zelda, of course, is going to be. You won't be able to play it for probably like 2. You might be able to get 2 hours out of it, but honestly, the VR experiences, coupled with having to physically hold it on your face, you're not going to be playing this for more than 30 minutes anyway. And also Nintendo keeps on telling you you should take breaks. So it's really cool. I think it's a really good, if you have kids, for instance, really great introduction to VR, and it's super entry level, it's super cheap. So for what it is, I think it's a great experience. It does not at all compare to PSVR, or I don't know about Oculus or HTC Vive. I'm sure those are amazing. But PSVR is super awesome if you're willing to spend a lot more money, and you have a PlayStation 4. I think the PSVR is probably the best I don't know, again, because I don't have Oculus or HTC, but it's probably
Mm-hmm.
the best value in terms of cost, because you have access to most of the Oculus and HTC games, um, albeit you don't have like Beat Saber mods, which are probably the best part of that game. That people have modded in different, like, actual songs as opposed to the the songs in the game. So that's super cool on in a of its own. But yeah, that's ToyCon. That what I did. I also played Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. I finally finished that game on stream as part of my Kojima Legacy series that I'm doing. I'm gonna try to just stitch together the footage and put it up on our YouTube channel if you just want to, watch me play the game for whatever reason. It's good background noise for when you're eating dinner, I guess. I'm trying to get some more content on our channel anyways, so might as well.
Yeah,
it's,
we
it's
need it.
yeah, we need it. We need it. But yeah, it's not like it'll be a super crazy let's play at it, so I'll just do it. I love that game. Oh my god. Metal Gear Solid 1 is such a good game. Um, just everything about that game is, except for maybe the controls in the context of 2019, is just an amazing game. I can't suggest it more, that if you're interested in stealth games and a political drama, as it were, in terms of storytelling, Hideo
I'm
Kojima's video
tired of
games.
politics in my games.
Well, then don't play this game. But this game is so worth your time. It's only about a 10-hour game, so you can get through it in 2 sittings, or you could do it in 1 day if you really have the time. So I highly suggest. I really want Konami to just release all these games in HD, just in all at once. I can't. That they're fucking sitting on a gold mine. They're so dumb. I hate Konami so much. I know they're making so much more money on that. So I played that, and then the last game that I played is Cadence of Hyrule, because Nintendo finally, I think it's, I can't remember the developer right now. I should give them credit, but they've made a really fantastic game. I think it's like Get Ready Games or something like that. I don't know.
Brace yourself
games.
Which is
they're
almost Get Ready
super
games.
awesome. This game
Also,
is so fucking
if Get
good.
Ready Games is not already a
Or
game
Let's
studio,
Go Games or something. Yeah,
we should absolutely
patent that or copyright it.
Yep.
So yeah, this game worth getting 100% if you're into Zelda. If you have a Nintendo Switch, obviously you should get this game. It's basically a Zelda game, but it has the gimmick, well, not the gameplay mechanic, that every time there's an enemy on the screen, you now have to move to the beat of the song. And because Zelda music is so iconic and revered, they've made some really great arrangements of classic Zelda songs in the game, depending on where you are in the map. And it's so amazing to listen to the music in the game. I really love it. I can't praise this game enough. It's so much fun.
Seems like there's a lot of games that are in, like, with Switch in particular. So Tetris seemed like a big one.
Oh yeah.
Where the music and the soundtrack played a lot of.
Yeah, I think so.
And then this one, but.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, Nintendo is always, I think, aside from maybe Capcom, I feel like Nintendo has made some of the most iconic music and video games. I mean, of course, Witcher 3. How could we forget about Witcher 3? Come on.
I don't. I use it every week in my D&D games.
That's awesome. So I highly suggest you get this game. But enough talk about video games, Ivan. Let's talk about video games. E3 2019 happened last week, or I guess this week, because it's Sunday for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really funny. I think they said the official starting date for E3 was Tuesday of this week. but that was the day that all the press conferences. That was the last day of press conferences. So I have no idea how they say anything. I guess that's when the convention was open to the public. But yeah, so there were a lot of announcements coming out of E3. We were primarily focused on Microsoft's press conference and Nintendo's. So let's go ahead and start going over what, and of course, for those keeping track at home, Ivan and I have a stake bet going, and we do this every year. I'm currently up 2 stakes, but it looks like Ivan is trying to claw his way back to net positive stakes.
It's a searing time.
We're really working on our comedy here. Oh my god. Look, so let's go over some Microsoft.
It's really rare of me to win.
God, don't give this guy don't give this guy any slack. He'll take him on.
That was well done, though.
Very good. Let's go over some Microsoft announcements. Of course,
this one had me raked over the coals.
Of course, EA, Ubisoft, and Square Enix and Bethesda also had Square Enix conferences. I think the only interesting one out of those was Square Enix, but personally, it is what it is. I can't believe EA continues to have press conferences. They're the ultimate cringy conferences, and Bethesda's was so. It's like, come on. They basically announced a bunch of things for Fallout 76, and this is what I took out of it. They announced that they're all the good things from Fallout 4 and Fallout 3 and New Vegas, like the story writing, the NPCs, all the cool things, all the cool characters were not in Fallout 76, and so they announced that they're bringing back NPCs. Plot lines, literally. I think these were like the actual the bullet points on their announcement screen. NPCs are back. Plot lines, and like fucking decisions. Heavily weighted decisions. Like, are you kidding me? Get the fuck out of here, Bethesda. And then they're also putting a fucking battle royale into Fallout 76 because they can't.
Because
they're the best. Yeah. All right. Anyways, enough about that. Let's talk about Microsoft and their E3 conference. Do you have a list of their announcements?
I'm trying to find a good one.
Yeah, I know. Let me look.
Those are few and far between. We should release our own.
Yeah.
Because that would actually be
I know.
good.
I know. Xbox.com. You'd think that would be the one to go to, right?
You would think so.
But it's not. Okay, so Gears 5, obviously they discussed a little bit. Yeah, that basically Xbox.
There's so many fucking articles about what the guessing game is, and no good articles about what actually came out.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
But essentially, Games Pass. The Xbox conference was what every, mainstream AAA third-party developer was trying to get on stage. How if they didn't have their own conference, they were trying to get on this stage. So because Sony was not there.
Which makes it sad because I think E3 is still better if both of them are there.
Sony and Microsoft, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I believe Phil Spencer said on record that he also thinks that he missed Sony at the conference. Maybe it was some like low blow or like, oh, we missed you, Sony. I think it was he seems to be like a pretty genuine and cool guy. So I like. Well, I mean, look, you have to take these with a grain of salt. These guys are making like billions of dollars and they don't give a fuck, right? So he's the head of Xbox, I believe, or he's at least the most public figure on the Xbox team. So what do you want to start with, Ivan? Should we just go over all the announcements if we can find them in a list?
Sure. Yeah, I have this list here, which I think is pretty good. It's 14 major announcements.
Yeah, let's do that.
So this is from The Verge. Project Scarlet is the first one on there. It's real, and it's coming really, really soon. It can
Yeah.
support 8K gaming. None of us are at 4K yet, but
I
they're
know.
already at 8K.
Oh no, I just watched this great video. You know the YouTube channel Linus Tech Tips?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're super awesome if you want to learn anything about building computers or the latest cutting edge technology, because that's what they specialize in, and so they got a consumer the first official consumer grade 8K display. I think it's a Samsung display, and it's like 80 inches, and it was a sponsored video. So
Mm-hmm.
they were just trying to get their PC. I mean, they wanted, yeah. So basically what they wanted to do was they wanted to hook up their best test rig, to this display and see if they can actually display native 8K, resolution. It turns out that's incredibly difficult to do with current graphic drivers. So they had to go through some loopholes, and they had to call up like tech support, which is pretty funny. And so they finally got it running, and they were only able to, with their best, the PC that they wanted to use, they were only able to get 8K at like barely 30 frames per second on their best PC. So how the fuck is this Xbox gonna? I mean, it's coming out next year, fair enough, and I'm sure they've done a lot of optimizing already. It seems like they've designed quite a bit about of it. So yeah, maybe it will be able to run 8K video games, but certainly not at 120 frames per second, which it seems like they're trying
with ray
to couple
tracing
together. I believe it'll have ray tracing, because that exists now.
The
And
least believable thing for me is not 8K 120 FPS, but holiday 2020. Because if
well,
they
they're
want
not
to
going to do
pair those
8K
two
20
things,
120 frames per second. I think they're saying, I honestly think they're saying 1080p 120 frames per second, but I digress.
yeah,
But yeah,
If they are trying to get this to be 8K 120 FPS, I think that is possible, eventually,
not
but
in a
not in
console.
holiday 2020.
No, absolutely not. Um, I think honestly, no one's gonna be on the 8K game even next year. Um, I mean honestly, I think graphics drivers will be out by then. For instance, on higher end PCs, but I don't think that. I think they're trying to lock down 4K if they can do 120. I think they're trying to lock down 4K 60 frames per second for their games, honestly.
That would be golden.
Yeah.
The golden promise that they promised from, what was it, Scorpio?
Yeah.
So
I
they're
don't think that was their promise. I think they just promised 4K gaming. But either way, it seems like if they're saying frame rates of 120 frames per second in games, maybe it seems like console gaming's shifting more towards how PCs work, and you might be able to go more into the settings for your games and customize things like anti-aliasing, frame rate caps, virtual sync, VSync, not virtual sync, vertical sync, G-Sync. Maybe all these things will be supported on the Xbox at least. I don't know how PlayStation's going to do it, and maybe you'll have much more customization in your games, because it does seem like as Xbox moves forward as a brand, it looks like they're trying to just have it so you can play all of their games on PC as well, which I think they announced. So that's really great news.
yes.
The next
Part of
thing,
that was the Xbox Game Pass coming to PC, which was announced a month ago. But at E3 they talked about xCloud, and they gave it a launch date.
Yes,
Which is in October.
Launch window, which is exciting, to say the least. I think I don't believe. Is it officially launching the whole thing, or is it just like
Turn
a
your
beta?
Xbox One into your own personal and free xCloud server.
Yeah, I don't know
Available
what
in
that
October.
means.
Nobody really does.
I guess you would be able to stream the games you've downloaded on your Xbox, or own through Xbox Live or whatever, you would be able to stream those games to, say, for instance, your PC, which I believe you can already do, or your phone, I guess, which is the big thing, or your laptop or things like that. And I think that's what they mean. I'm not entirely sure, though. Again, I think that
we already had this.
cool.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's just being able to play your console games on your PC, I mean, we've had that. PlayStation has had that for a while.
Yeah, that's true. So again, I don't really know. I guess the whole idea is I have no fucking clue what they mean by that, actually. That's a really good point.
Because I was wondering about this, and then I saw a guy playing with his PS4 controller on his computer the other day.
You can do that.
Like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. There's latency involved, but apparently it's gotten a lot better on the PlayStation Now side of things. Anyways,
I used to play the Uncharted series in this way.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And it worked all right.
No, it was all right. You had to adjust to the latency a little bit, but it was pretty good.
Okay. Either way, I still can't imagine a future where Project xCloud and Google Stadia, which was also discussed at E3, succeed very well. I think that they're gonna fail pretty poorly. Once gamers see the latency in multiplayer games, there's no going back. I don't think they can get rid of the latency at all.
It's too early in the literal infrastructure of the United States.
Well, we're
internet.
moving towards 5G on phones at least. So maybe apparently there's discussion about how it's going to interfere with prediction of weather a lot, which I guess we can discuss in the future, but it seems interesting. Because the 5G radio waves are on the same, are actually a fairly, or sorry, the radio wave, the frequency at which weather meteorologists use to predict weather happens because it's like fairly tuned with moisture content in the air, is a very small spectrum, and 5G happens to be in that spectrum.
Whoa.
So it's going to totally, it has the potential of setting us back like 40 years in terms of weather prediction. But Ajit Pai apparently claims that it will have no effect whatsoever. But I don't trust that motherfucker for a goddamn second.
You can trust that guy because he's got that big Reese's Puffs.
Fuck that piece of shit. Anyways, there's a Elite controller getting revamped. Exciting news for console gamers out there. Elite Controller Series 2 will now just be better. I don't really know. I don't really care about that. But if it is pretty much like the best controller ever, I would have to say.
40 hours of rechargeable life is
that's pretty nice. Nintendo Switch Pro controllers got that locked down as well, so I'll give Nintendo that. And it works with, Xbox and PC games, so that's cool.
Did they always have adjustable tension thumbsticks?
I don't think they had that. I think that's new.
Kind of cool.
No, it's really.
It's not enough for me to purchase one because they're too expensive for what they are.
Yeah.
For me, but I don't even own an Xbox, so there's that.
Well, you can play all your PC games with it, so that's cool.
That's true.
I think it's a great controller. I think that for particularly probably good for Halo and first-person shooters. So, if you're looking for a good controller and you're willing to spend that money, go ahead and get it when it comes out. Next up, we have Halo Infinite and Gears 5 getting release dates. Super exciting. I don't really care for Gears 5. I feel like Gears of War was exciting. Gears 1 and 2. It was like that was when it was really mainstream and exciting about those games because they were doing something new. But I feel like the franchise has gone on so long that it's sort of just kind of boring now, personally. I know there's still some diehard Gears fans out there, and you're getting your game, so good for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy it. Gears will be available for play on September 10th. That's exciting.
And then Halo Infinite the year after, which is way more important for me. I'm
Halo
super
Infinite.
excited for the
I'm
Halo.
very excited for Halo. It's I like the trailer that they had. It's very exciting. My prediction from last podcast, for people who are keeping track, was that Gears of War trailer would open the show. That did not happen at all. Phil Spencer just came out. Anyways, Halo Infinite was, of course, I think the last thing they discussed, and it's going to be a launch title for the Xbox Scarlet new console. I'm not sure if it's going to come out on Xbox One as well. That would be interesting if they had sort of like a dual launch there.
They've done it before, haven't they?
Xbox?
Yeah.
No.
Dual launch?
They've never done that, or definitely not with Halo. The only people who do that is Sony, I think. And Nintendo. Rather, just Nintendo, I think. I don't think Sony's done that. Sony, yeah. Microsoft and Sony pretty much make a huge deal about their next generation stuff, but Nintendo has launched like Zelda games on both consoles. Like Wii U, for instance, Breath of the Wild came out on Switch and Wii U, and Twilight Princess came out on Wii and GameCube.
I guess it wasn't a Microsoft or a Sony first party, but like Titanfall.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, and Call of Duty Ghost Dog. I don't know what it was called. Yeah, that game came out on both. I actually bought that on PlayStation 3 and then upgraded to PS4.
And all of the FIFA games are made for everything since the invention of the NES, I think.
There's still Just Dance 20, whatever the new one is that's coming out this year or next year, is coming out on the Nintendo Wii as well.
Great.
Isn't that amazing? Oh, man.
People love to dance.
Yeah,
Julien.
no, hey, well, the more power to you.
Don't underestimate the dance.
You know what? I think the statistic exists. I think MLB The Show was the last time it came out, or on PS2, which was like well into the PS3's life cycle. It sold 200,000 copies on the PS2 alone. That's amazing. So that's why
there were still a lot of people who were behind in console.
Yeah, no, I'm not blaming.
Or had a PS2 and an Xbox 360
and couldn't afford the $600 PS3. Anyways, next up, George Railroad Martin.
A piece of shit.
George Railroad Martin's Elden Ring is officially unveiled.
Instead of finishing the books.
I believe Dark Souls From Software developing this game, and George Railroad Martin is making the story beats, I guess. So I'm actually kind of excited for this game because I love Dark Souls. So we'll see if this game.
But if it's a From Software style game, I mean, are any of us going to understand the lore?
Apparently, someone understands it. Anyways, Microsoft also had Microsoft Flight Simulator is coming back, I believe. This made
that was a big
some
trailer.
people jizz, I guess. I don't really care. Do you care about simulator games like this? Except for Train Simulator. Do you care about simulator games?
No, tycoon games, which
I love the tycoon games.
Like cartoonish simulators,
Yeah.
I love.
Roller Coaster Tycoon is a fantastic game. It's a great game. Probably the biggest news from the Microsoft E3 conference was Keanu Reeves being on stage and Cyberpunk 2077 getting a release date as well as a sweet trailer, including Keanu Reeves as a NPC. Apparently he has like 15 hours of lines in the game, so he's
Who
being
knew?
utilized. He's a very important character. I don't think 15 hours, but probably I think he's like the second most used NPC in the game. So you figure if you're going to pay the amount of money to get Keanu in the game, you better take advantage of it, right? So
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this game. I can't wait to get it. It's coming out April 16th, 2020. Neither of us had any predictions involving any of this news so far, so we're just going down the list here.
I didn't trust anything about Cyberpunk.
Yeah, but now you do, and you shouldn't, because it's about deception and AI and genetically modifying and mechanically modifying bodies. So there's a lot of deception and double crossing in this game, I feel like. So I'm excited for it. It looks cool, very cool. Outer Worlds, don't care. Ninja Theory, making a 4v4 action game that looks a lot like Overwatch, but is a melee game instead of first-person shooter. I guess has more Team Fortress vibe, as it's 4v4, and that's coming out June 27th, very soon. So basically, Microsoft has a bunch of these games. I'm not sure if this. Oh, Ninja Theory is owned by Microsoft now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
First party studio.
That's coming. Okay, so my prediction regarding first party studios was that no fewer than 5 new games would be announced from their first party studios. So I guess that's just one of them, but I don't think that came true. They're making a weird Blair Witch game. I don't know why. Minecraft Dungeons is coming next spring, which is
also
a spin-off from Minecraft. So let's put that on the list of one of 5 new games coming from first-party studios, as Mojang is owned by Microsoft.
What about Minecraft Earth? Did you cover that one?
I have no idea what that is. I don't care about Minecraft.
That is the augmented reality Minecraft game set to challenge Pokemon Go, which my PA still plays.
Yeah, hey man, if you enjoy the game you're playing, keep on playing it. They're making a new Battletoads game. Again, don't care. Double Fine joins Microsoft.
Does this mean that we're getting Psychonauts 2?
Psychonauts 2 is well into development. Yes.
Okay.
It's coming out eventually. But I guess the big announcement there is that Double Fine is is a first-party studio for Microsoft now. So Microsoft be using that
14?
money now.
Or 15?
What?
Studios.
So I think now it's 14, possibly. And
I think
another.
It was 13, and I know that Double Fine would probably be 14. So
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah, it is very huge. I don't know how many Sony owns, but this is a really large acquisition, and it also shows that Microsoft ain't trying to just make the larger games out there. Not that they were, for instance, but that's really great for Double Fine if they're going to be treated well under Microsoft, and I assume we'll see many more games from them nowadays, as they'll probably be able to expand their team with all that extra Microsoft money. So next up, there's Phantasy Star Online 2. I can't believe it's coming out. Holy crap, one of the biggest MMOs in Japan is making its way westward. Phantasy Star Online 2, which launched in Japan in 2012 on PC, is coming to Xbox One. How exciting. But it's going to be a free-to-play experience.
This is like the Switch announcement of the Xbox
I know.
panel.
So basically, those are the large announcements coming out of Microsoft's press conference. Anything interesting to you? I feel like it was kind of tame. I feel like they
I'm excited for what Double Fine can do with the new support. I'm excited for when they can actually publish a thing. I really want to get my hands on Cyberpunk before I make any judgments on it.
Yeah.
and Halo and the new Xbox. If the new Xbox comes out when I have enough money, I might actually purchase this this new console.
Yeah.
8K, 120 FPS, fuck yeah. $1,000,
just get a
sure,
new
that's what
graphics
it's gonna
card,
cost.
dude. Just get a new graphics card, though. I wouldn't get the Xbox. I would get the because you can play all the first party games on your PC, which means you can literally play all the Xbox games on your PC.
Yeah, so what's the point of getting a console anymore?
Sony, I believe, it has a purpose in that they have games that aren't on PC. Last of Us 2 ain't coming out on PC. What's Ghost of Tsushima?
Apple was smart, they would partner with Sony.
Imagine you had to buy it.
Apple exclusives.
Apple. Oh my god. And same goes for Nintendo, right? I mean, not to mention, I guess the Switch has the portability factor, so that's a huge selling point. But none of the first-party Nintendo games are ever going to make it to PC, so, or as far as I know. So that's why you would want to own a console. But Microsoft is making it so that you can play all their first-party games on PC. So that's really great news for us. All we have to do is upgrade our PCs. I personally, that's how I see it.
Finally.
Yeah, you could probably do that if you ever had time. So let's tally up the Microsoft press conference before we jump into Nintendo, which we were interested in as well. I think I got 1 point because I said that Project xCloud will be detailed. That's what I said.
I had next-gen hardware stats reveal.
Mm-hmm.
But I also had that they won't reveal specific hardware, and I think they talked about the processor, the AMD.
Yeah.
The graphics one.
Well, they basically just said it's a custom GPU, custom CPU,
so they didn't
custom
reveal specific
SSD.
hardware.
Sure.
So kind of.
Sure. Typically when people... Yeah, it's all right. Whatever you want to say.
All right, fine. I'll take half a point or whatever from there.
That's fine.
Project xCloud was there, but none of the things I wanted about it. Halo Infinite will have a release quarter teased. I was there.
Yes.
And there will be gameplay footage of Halo on the PC. Wasn't there. So I think half a point between the two of those each, so 1 full point. A new numbered Fable game? Nope. And Phil Spencer wearing more than one outfit. Didn't come to fruition.
Such a shame.
The man did not have quick changes. I should have guessed that he's not moving that fast anymore.
He's not. They should have him in like those I guess it's like quick release pants, so you can just rip them off in the
like the snap pants.
Yeah, the snap pants. So let's discuss Nintendo's announcements. All 35 release date announcements for Nintendo Direct E3. That's a video. I don't want to play that. Here we go. So, and at Xbox, just to be clear, they discussed 60 games at their E3 conference, which is exciting.
So you probably got your 5.
What?
Did you get the 5 game thing? Did you get that point?
Oh,
Did you pick that point?
I don't know. I said that no fewer than 5, so I don't think I got it, but I don't know.
You don't think that they had 5?
Okay, let's give me the full point then. I have 2. But I definitely got crushed in Nintendo, which is surprising, Ivan. I can't believe you beat me on this part.
I just threw some shit out there.
And so did I. Look, I went in super hard for some confirming release months because I wanted to destroy Ivan in every way. But it totally backfired on me. Nintendo had a pretty long Nintendo Direct that, I really like their format a lot because it totally reduces the amount of cringe, and they can just go from game trailer to game trailer to game trailer, and sort of keep you very entertained the entire or the entire Nintendo Direct, because they can edit things, which is all you need to do. Compare that to, say, EA and okay. But where did they begin, Yvonne? They started out with a Smash Bros DLC character. They basically, in the beginning of this trailer, they made a bunch of Japanese boys jizz because they love Smash Bros and they love their Dragon Quest out in Japan. So they announced that the Dragon Quest hero from Dragon Quest 11, along with some other shit, I don't know, along with I was kind of confused as how that character is gonna work, but they announced that the Dragon Quest hero character is going to be in Smash Bros as DLC, coming out in summer of this year, so very soon, hopefully, probably in July, I would say. I'm willing to guess that, but again, I guess a lot of things here, so I'm really bad with Nintendo. So that was exciting. Then they also introduced Doug Bowser, who's now the head of Nintendo of America. He took over Reggie Fils-Aimé's job because Reggie's just trying to be a humble guy. You know, he's trying to... I
love Reggie, though.
I love that. Everyone loves that man. He's actually a very impressive person if you look at his resume. I think he was like one of... He's from New York, I believe. New York City.
Born in Bronx.
In the Bronx. But I think he's like one of the first millionaire... I don't know where he's from. I think he's Dominican, if I'm not mistaken. Or something like that. He's Haitian, sorry. That's somewhat racist of me.
It's the same island.
Yeah, I know.
It's
yeah, so I guess he's one of the first millionaire Haitians of the world, and he's like a self-built man. So, and I think he's jumped around at different from different companies. He was like part of another large company that I can't remember. So
he was at VH1 before he went to Nintendo.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Well, he went to Nintendo and he made a lot of money there. So good for him. He's finally taken some time off to enjoy his family life. So that's really good for Reggie. And Doug Bowser, it's just a funny name to be working at Nintendo. I think that's hilarious. But hopefully he's an interesting guy. They also discussed a lot about, as you know, the video game journalism cycle goes. You know, they get on one topic and then it's all that everyone is talking about, and they all have the same opinions about it. But in particular, Video Game Crunch has come into the limelight now, and everyone's like, oh, it's a horrible practice, this. And every website is saying that, right? And so, of course, Nintendo had to discuss it as well. At E3, someone asked Doug Bowser the question about it, and I think he said that they try to value, you know, their customers as much as possible, but they also value their employees very much. And so they want to keep their employees happy because that'll make a better game. And so that's why they're delaying Animal Crossing to 2020, as they think it's going to, you know, they don't want to force their employees to work overtime for no reason. So I'm excited that, you know, at least there's some companies out there that aren't trying to make a quick buck. Not to mention, when Satoru Iwata was the president of Nintendo, he took a pay cut twice in order to prevent mass layoffs at Nintendo when the Wii U was doing poorly, and so that's huge. I think when do CEOs of a company or presidents of companies take pay cuts? They rarely do. Probably only Japan. In Japan.
Usually in the face of something
horrible.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. But so I like that the heads of Nintendo take responsibility, or at least that's how they appear to be. I don't know how they are in real life. But yeah, so that's that. Luigi's Mansion was discussed. No release date. I was actually surprised because it's coming out this year. They discuss extensively all the single player shit in the game. Looks pretty cool. I'm excited. Luigi looks pretty savage in this game also. he like slams the ghost. Looks pretty horrible.
Oh damn.
Which is so it looks like a pretty fun game. It's a really quirky game to begin with. I predicted it was going to come out in October. We don't have a release date confirmed, so maybe it will, but also maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. So I get no points for that, unfortunately. That was my first prediction. Then they had like 30-second, or like they spent 2 minutes on this Dark Crystal Age of Resistance tactics game. What the fuck is this shit? Who cares? Nintendo, come on. Then they announced the release date for Link's Awakening. You had a particular thing.
Do you know what the Dark Crystal is?
No, I have nothing. It's some
So the Dark
Netflix
Crystal is a movie that was Muppet movie, or like a. It was Jim Henson.
Yeah,
made the Dark Crystal.
It looks
and so it looks like a sweet ass tactics game. So
you're gonna get it. Get a Switch. Forget that game.
I get the Switch.
That is so funny, man. That you're like the fucking guy for that game. That is so funny.
I know, right?
Oh man, no, that's good. I'm glad you
love me some Henson. Love me some tactic games.
I'm glad you find something interesting in that trailer. It's not a game for me, but I'm glad you like it. Next up, I think they announced Link's Awakening's release date. I predicted it would come out in December because I think that's a really good pocket for Zelda-going players. I think that everyone's home for the holidays in that period of time. They might get the game for the holidays, for instance, as a gift. And it's just a real good time to curl up by the fire and just play Zelda for hours on hours. But it's actually coming out on September 20th. Fuck you, Julien, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I get points here.
Yeah.
I had that the Zelda Link's Awakening will have a video segment lasting 46 seconds and will have a release date solidified. Did have a release date solidified.
Yes.
I wasn't so brazen as to say it. And it had a video segment. Hey. But it was also 2 minutes and like 15 seconds.
Yeah, it was
a video segment. Julien was like, "Oh, it was just 30 seconds." No,
yeah,
I thought it was really long.
I thought it was 30 seconds because I was very excited about the game. It looks great. You know, I can't say anymore. You know, it's an old game, but so you know all the information about the game's already out there. But it looks beautiful. I think they really spent a lot of time with the graphics style, so I'm excited for that.
I am enticed to play this game as well.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo probably has the most games that I would like to start playing immediately.
Yeah, that's I thought was really cool about they announced so many effing games in this direct alone. So that's really great. There's a ton of support this year for Nintendo Switch, not even coming from Nintendo entirely. It's a lot of third-party games are coming out. For instance, Trials of Mana, the entire, it's coming out. That's coming out next year, never mind. But it's coming out in early 2020, and you can currently buy the Collection of Mana, which I think is 3 games. It came out on June 12th of this year. There was some discussion about Fire Emblem. I didn't make a prediction about this game because we already know the release date. So they had a Treehouse Live presentation where they played through a section of the game, and they also had a pretty short trailer where they didn't really announce anything about the game. There's like no gameplay in it. Like, who cares? No, I love Fire Emblem so much. This game looks really interesting, actually. You would like Fire Emblem, I think.
I know.
It's basically
one of those games I never played, but I should have.
It's a tactics game that has waifus, dude. That's all you need to know. It's fucking amazing, and it's really stat driven, I would say, and you can customize your classes, which is really cool. In this game, there's a lot of customization for your characters, so that's really cool. But each character has their own story, and they interact with other characters on the battlefield, so it's pretty cool. And then a surprise announcement, although I believe it was rumored before this, The Witcher 3 is coming out on Switch, which you had a prediction about. Not particularly The Witcher 3, but...
Right. As is safe for every Nintendo Switch conference, there will be a game which will be featured as a newly arriving to Switch whose original release date was 2017 or older. There were multiple of these,
yes,
in fact.
You should just get points on points on points for this. Yeah, Resident Evil 5 and 6.
5 and 6. And Resident Evil 6 was what, 2012?
Yeah, remember that time when Resident Evil went to Africa to kill African zombies? Yeah, that's Resident Evil 5. That was a great game. I love that game.
Resident Evil 6 was not.
Resident Evil 6 sucked. Ugh. But Resident Evil 7, great game. So, you know,
scared me out of my pants sometimes.
There are more good Resident Evil games than bad ones. I take that back, I think. But let's go with 4, 5, 7, and 2 remake. All awesome games. You should get 2 remake.
Yeah.
You can get it on PC. You should get it. Well, you'd have to fix your PC.
When I have, time to do any of this, I will do it.
Witcher. Hey, maybe it'll be on sale during the Steam sale. Witcher 3.
That's the only thing that I can hope for is that all of the games that I've been wanting to play at this, for these past 2 months, will be on sale by the time I actually get around to
I'm sure they will be. And Witcher 3 Wild Hunt coming out on Switch. If it runs well, I'm gonna get it so I can actually beat that game.
I still haven't beaten it either.
You got it on really PC though, right?
Long. Yeah.
So that's a good place to play it. I don't know if Switch
but I tried to play the first Witcher.
Yeah.
Oof is right.
Yeah, that game is difficult to play now. No More Heroes 3 announced. I think that's pretty interesting. Those games are always really quirky, and I'm glad they exist because they're kind of like, you know how the tier under AAA games doesn't really exist anymore? No More Heroes 3 is a tier under AAA. And so I'm glad these games are still being made. And Nintendo gives them the option to be made. So that's really exciting. Contra Rogue Corps announced. I was never a big fan of Contra, mostly because I didn't grow up playing it. And, I've played it a couple times at arcades, for instance. So that game, if you're excited about Contra, maybe you'll be into this game. I didn't think it looked that good in particular, but that's me. You can also get the Contra collection right now, which has all the Contra games ever. So if you're into that shit, play it on Switch. They announced more information about Pokemon Sword and Shield. I didn't want to predict anything about it because they had a Pokemon Direct the day after we recorded our E3 predictions. And the only disappointing thing I can think about in this game is that they're not, at launch at least, if they will not allow you to transfer all your Pokemon over, so there's a Pokédex called the Galar Pokédex, that's the region. If the Pokemon doesn't exist in the Galar Pokédex, you can't transfer it over from your older games, which is so antithetical to the Pokemon tagline, gotta catch 'em all. You can't, not all the Pokemon are going to be in this game at the beginning, at least. I think they'll patch them in, but they didn't say anything about that. So I'm very disappointed, but, who fucking knows? Maybe it won't even matter. Maybe all of them will be in it except for Garbodor, which is a Pokemon. It is literal trash. and
I always
thought
that was what Grimer was.
Grimer is sludge.
No.
And so is Muck. Oh my god. Daemon X Machina coming out September 13th. I'm apprehensive about this game. I played the demo, wasn't too impressed, but it's a giant mech game, which you might enjoy, and there's a lot of stats involved and customization.
See, I don't like fights. The stats I like customization to an extent.
Yeah, I know.
Stats can be overwhelming in Japanese RPGs.
Oh yeah, they are.
So I don't necessarily. I like stats in Western RPGs
Yeah.
because it's like 4 things I have to keep track of, and Japanese RPGs really don't like when
There's
it's
no
so
point.
stats heavy. It's just like like Pokemon got too advanced for me, you
Pokemon was
know?
too much for you? It's just attack and speed and defense and HP and special attack and
Special.
special defense. Well, that makes sense. Come on. It's a physical attack or it's a special. Okay, anyways. I like Pokemon stats. I think they're simple enough. Panzer Dragoon. Woo. For the people who like that game. I actually remember playing that game on the Dreamcast with my friend Andrew. Shout out to Andrew for letting me play Panzer Dragoon at your house when we were like 12 or whatever. That game was fun. So maybe it'll be super fun on Switch. Astral Chain is going to come out August 30th, and they announced more things about it. We already knew that. So I'm excited for that game. I like Platinum games. They make the Bayonetta games, so this game should have at least some good action. Empire of Sin, weird game, coming out spring 2020. It looks like it's I don't know. I don't know anything about this game. It's like a top-down mafia game. That's interesting. But I was never. I like mafia shit, but I don't know. I don't really care. Cadence of Hyrule got a release date, which was June 13th. It's already out. That game's super fun. I already talked about it. Mario and Sonic at the Olympics Tokyo 2020 is gonna be
I'm
released
actually
2019.
really excited about this game.
Dude, these games sell like crazy amounts, so like it must be so much fun. I've never played one.
These games.
They make
This
one every
style of
4
game.
years. Come on, it's
I know,
great.
It's great.
I mean, surely it's great because they have 4 years to make the game, so it's got to be a good game every time, right? And this game is, it's a mini game collection where you get to wreck Tails as Mario. It's gonna be a fun time, and it's only on Nintendo systems, so that's interesting. But it makes sense because you have the Nintendo characters. Animal Crossing, we got a lot of details on. You had a prediction about this, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Just that it would be there.
Yeah.
A new core Animal Crossing game for Switch. Kept it light, kept it breezy.
Right. So I predicted that it would be coming out in November. I thought that was a good time, but they had to delay it because they wanted to include more things and make it a much better game. So I'm excited about that. And I really think they're sort of taking it into a really cool place. They're going to have you start out. Animal Crossing has always been a really interesting franchise. So it's basically, I think it can only be made in Japan. So it's a game about living your life in a relaxing town and like eating fruit and paying off your debts and being a responsible citizen. That's basically it. You move to a new town, immediately you're hit with a mortgage for your house and you have to pay it off. And so this game, that's just the game. It's the literal like main mechanic in the game. It's like your main objective. It's so funny.
It's training you to be a very good citizen.
Just being a good person, a good neighbor. These are like the things you have to do in the game. You clean up the town. In this game, you start on a deserted island, and you start off with a tent, and they've added a lot of crafting mechanics to the game, which is pretty cool. You also still have your debt to pay off, which is classic, but you'll be able to, you start, basically you move to a deserted island that's, in shambles, and you make it a habitable place. And eventually people are like, oh, that looks like a kind of a nice island. I'm going to move there. And so you're just making it a really nice place to live. And there's a lot more mechanics of the game. So, I'll probably play it for like 2 weeks and then realize, what am I doing with my life? This game requires you to play it every fucking day. God damn it. God damn it, Animal Crossing. Next up, we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. It's coming out June 19th. That game looks super fun if you're into Marvel. There's actually a lot of cool mechanics in the game. Like, there's a lot of cool characters, like X-Men are coming back for this game. And if you create teams of, I think you can do 3 characters each. You can like do themed teams, so like Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man, and whatever the others, Venom or something. I don't know who the other third character would be. You can do special moves related to all those characters. I think this game looks more interesting than the other Avengers game, personally. But I don't really care for these licensed games, personally. I don't know. Anyways, Dead by Daylight's coming out on Switch as well, September 24th. That's good news for people who like Dead by Daylight. The Stranger Things game is coming out on July 3rd. Spyro Reignited Trilogy coming to Switch on September 3rd. People who are excited about Spyro, go ahead and get that game. Just Dance 2020 coming out November 5th. Super excited.
For the Switch and
Nintendo Wii. Skipping the Wii U, but it's coming out on the Wii.
It's so funny.
I don't even know. It's unbelievable. It's fucking unbelievable. New Super Lucky's Tale coming out in fall. Minecraft Dungeons coming out spring 2020. So Minecraft, despite being a first-party game, or a first-party studio, Mojang, is still coming out with new spin-offs, and they're released on everything because everyone loves Minecraft. I think a really exciting game to come out on Switch is this next one, Ni no Kuni, the HD, or for Nintendo Switch particularly, it's just the original game. So Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. They're going to have a up-res version for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, if I'm not mistaken. This game was originally a PS3 exclusive. Now it's no longer exclusive. I'm definitely getting this game on Switch. I loved it so much on PS3. It's just one of my favorite games that came out in that era. It's so good. It's the game that looks like a Studio Ghibli movie.
Yeah, I know what it is. This is another one of those games that as soon as I get a Switch, I will be getting.
It's a really great story, and the gameplay is super fun.
I'm really waiting. So the news that I was waiting for in this whole conference that didn't come out was the different SKUs of the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I think it's possible that they would announce it.
So the Wall Street Journal reports, even though no other news is going out, that the beefier and the slimmed down version of the Nintendo Switch are in production currently. So if that holds, I will probably have a Switch holiday of this year.
Yeah, I think that's a really good time for them to announce it. I don't think they would announce it.
Hungover gaming teaser.
That's exciting. Then we could play Smash. But yeah, so the thing they want to avoid is announcing it too early, because then it'll kill all Switch sales from the time they announce it till the time it's released, right? So that's what they're trying to avoid, I'm guessing. So they're probably just like, they won't just stealth release it, but they'll announce it like 2 weeks to a month ahead of time, I think, maybe, because the Switch is selling like hotcakes, man. They don't want to kill that.
They will announce it a week before it comes out.
That's nuts. I don't think so. That's crazy. We'd have to look at how the 2DS was announced. I think it's aligned with that. Or the new 3DS. I think Nintendo will follow a similar pattern. I don't know how far in advance that was announced. Next up, we have Catan, going to be released on June 20th. That's a pretty cool way to play Catan and bring it around portably. So that's really great.
It actually works really well with
the phone version or something, or tablet version.
No, I just think it works well with the Switch.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
I know you were getting to that, but as a person who really loves Settlers of Catan,
you love that game, Matt.
I don't actually love it. I've played it a few times, and I found it to be enjoyable a few of the times I played it.
Good enough. A few more games. Sinking City, Alien Isolation coming out. I don't really care. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition. Again, don't care. Didn't like that game when it came out. I won't like it when it comes out again. Hollow Knight Silksong, which a lot of people are excited for, is coming out later this year. So,
is this a new Hollow Knight?
Yeah, officially it's a sequel. Or, sorry, it's like a spin-off. It was a stretch goal to just add this as DLC to the game, the original Hollow Knight, but they eventually just made it so large and so expansive that they're like, fuck it, it's a new game. And so people are super excited. Hollow Knight, of course, a very exciting and cool Metroidvania type game on the Switch and pretty much everywhere else. It was a Kickstarter game to begin with, I believe. Dauntless is coming out, which is the new game that everyone's playing. It's free to play. It's on PS4 and Xbox One and PC right now. It's coming out on Switch in fall or winter of this year. It's kind of like a Western version of Monster Hunter that's free to play, I would say, Dauntless. So maybe you'd like this game more. It's also free to play. And then Wolfenstein, Doom Eternal, and Elder Scrolls Blades are coming out on Switch as well.
I have nothing against the Japanese RPG. It is just that
it's
when
so
I have
different,
played them, I get so much more confused than when I play a Western RPG. I enjoy the crazy screwball stories. I enjoy the graphics usually. It's just the physical gameplay of understanding, am I good with this or not? I was playing a game on the Game Boy, and I literally had to restart this game 17 times because I didn't know how to manage what I was buying. I was like, oh, I got an Uzi. I guess that's good, but the Uzi has 5 uses, and now I'm out of money, and now I'm dead.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
Flights to Russia were really boring when you didn't know how to play the games that your parents had bought you in a $35 bundle.
That's
from
hilarious.
Some guy from work.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny, dude. Anyways, that's about it for Nintendo Switch. I've got... Oh, wait, and also they announced that Banjo-Kazooie is coming to Smash in fall. So I predicted that the next Smash DLC character would be announced and come out. So I got half of that, even though 2 were announced. But I predicted that it would be released in September. So, well, I fucked up. So I got half of a point for Nintendo, because I also predicted that a new free game would be announced as part of the Nintendo Switch Online service, kind of like Tetris 99 was announced.
Is that not like Dauntless?
No, that's not
okay.
Specifically tied to the Nintendo Online service.
All right, I got 1 point for Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
1 point for the older gamer going to the Switch.
Yeah.
And then 2/3 of a point for Zelda Link's Awakening.
Cool. So you crushed me. Yvonne,
I finally won!
Before you celebrate, I really have to go to the bathroom, so I'll be right back.
Okay. All right.
Oh, God.
So this is the part where Julien will be listening to just me talking. I won. That dude might be smarter than me because he has a higher degree, but I have clawed my way back from 0 stakes won to 1 stake won. That's right, bitches. I don't owe 3 stakes. I owe 1 now, which is fine. Or I should owe 2 and he should owe 1. And that way we get more footage, more content. Who wants content? Everything's content. Oh my god. So, Julien, it's nice that you got your PhD. When are you starting culinary? What is your work schedule? I thought you had to work on Sunday nights. But I guess not anymore? Or maybe just today? I don't know. I'm going back to the coffee shop for a while.
I'm back. Sorry about that. Holy shit. I might not have ever had to go to the bathroom so bad in my life.
You were bursting at the seams.
Quite literally. All right, Ivan.
Yes.
You celebrated.
I won!
You owe me 1 steak.
I now not owe
3
3 steaks. I owe 2 steaks and you owe me 1 steak.
So,
Aha!
should we just cancel out a steak and have it you just owe me 1 steak?
Depends on how much content we need, Julian.
All right, good. So we'll keep that on the books. Of course, we're 3 years behind on this steak bet. That's 1 old steak. We're gonna try to make a video eventually.
It's like a bond that it has a period before it comes to maturation.
Yeah. So if you guys actually want to see us do the steak bet completion here, please tell us. We'll go to a fancy restaurant and film it at some point. If you really want us to do it, tell us in the comments section below. But Ivan, overall thoughts on E3 before we depart the podcast?
Oh, not this mortal coil. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
It was not a big year for games. I think this E3. Now I think the only team that had a really great announcement lineup was probably Nintendo, and most of those games I don't care about anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel like it had the same oomph or gumption. I really miss Sony being there.
Me too. And of course they will most likely be, not of course, but they will probably be at E3 in 2020. If they don't have like a PSX, they might have a PSX this year. That would be pretty interesting to do some predictions on, or just watch in general. I was both disappointed by Microsoft and surprised. I was also happy for them. I think they had a good conference overall, and they there's exciting things in the future to be if you're an Xbox gamer. But I also was kind of disappointed that they didn't announce anything. They didn't really give me a reason to want to buy the next Xbox, or to want to, if I didn't have an Xbox One. I don't think they give you a reason to buy an Xbox One at all, personally. And I really think that they blew it because they had such a big chance this E3 to make a huge splash in the game industry and be a really great company in terms of announcements of games coming out. But I really think that's because they're really trying to push Project xCloud and the new Xbox, and they're putting all of their efforts into that and making that a great experience. So we'll see what happens when that comes out next year, and what they talk about next year at E3, I think. But overall, I'm excited for games in general, and I'm super excited for fucking Pokemon. Oh my god, I need that game so badly.
As far as the whole thing goes,
Yeah.
I think like E3 has less impact on me than seeing games played or word of mouth.
Yeah, I think Twitch gamers and YouTubes, they hold all the hype nowadays, I think.
Yeah, they've stolen the market.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Ivan, thank you so much for doing yet another annual E3 predictions and reactions podcast. Tell us what you think about E3 in the comments section below, and what you thought of our predictions. Next year, you guys can play along with us. Of course, tune in then. Don't tune into the rest of our podcasts. So next week we'll come at you with probably not a gaming-related thing, unless there's something interesting to talk about. I don't think there will be anything interesting to talk about in gaming this entire summer. Probably not, because I think things wind down after E3 for a while.
Yeah. Unless there's some new hot game that drops that we just want to play. Like, for instance, if we want to talk about playing that new Ninja Theory game.
Oh yeah, very exciting. Very exciting stuff.
Or we could just show you in a fucking Let's Play.
Oh shit, we gonna do that? Shit. Possibly. Tell us if you want to see more Let's Plays as well. Ivan, we end our podcast in a song every single week, in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is where you, the listener, can send in your music to gaminghungover@gmail.com, and we will put, hopefully in MP3 format or WAV, and we will put it at the end of the podcast. This is a free advertisement for you and your band or just you if you're a solo artist.
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to share your music with all 101 subscribers that we have. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and getting us to that threshold. We're very excited to make videos for you guys. So keep on supporting us, please. If no one sends in a song, I get to pick one, and I'm really excited this week because there's new music to play in a new game called Cadence of Hyrule. They have some really great arrangements of Zelda songs, particularly one that's been stuck in my head is the Gerudo Valley combat sequence song. It's so good. It's fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoy this song. I assume it's playing now. Who's editing this? I am. So it's playing now. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. We'll catch you guys next week. Bye.